Hi, today we're talking about backdrops and wiring. So stick around. My name's Scott and welcome to CP Lewis. So if you look here, we actually got some of our backdrop put in place. Hanging this stuff by yourself is definitely not an easy task. So it's a little bit, it's a little bit wonky, I guess. Some of it needs to be re-screwed and re-straightened out, which I'm going to work on doing here. But overall, we got it up. It's really nice. It kind of makes the layout look bigger in some sense. Just because you can't see the entire layout now. I kept it back. As you can see, this is at least a foot that I did. I just want to be able to leave enough room there for, houses, mountains, things like that. The trees that we're going to do in O scale are definitely a lot bigger than what you would see in like HO or N scale. So you have to kind of keep all that in mind when you're doing your mountain work and you're going to do a backdrop, that all that has to be kind of taken into consideration, because it does take a considerable amount of more room than what you would do in HO or N scale. You could probably do half of this width for one of those smaller scales. But in O, I wanted to make sure that we were going to have enough room to be able to accomplish some of that, especially down here at this end, because there are some houses and things like that over here on this side of the tracks. And then there's a train crossing here as well. So I wanted to leave room so I could at least get a couple houses down in there. So yeah, let's take a walk around the layout here. And then we're going to show you what some of these areas look like with the backdrop on, and yeah, go from there. As far as on the wiring goes, as you can see, I started putting in feeders. So we're using, I believe this is actually 14 gauge wire. Yeah, we're using 14 gauge. I saw a lot of people recommending 16. But I went to buy some, they didn't have it. So I went to 14, just a little bit thicker, but I think it's going to be okay. It should still work. What I'm doing here is not so much in the yard, but on the main line up here, I'm actually putting feeders into every single piece of track because I don't want to lose power anywhere. So you can see in between the switches here, I put feeders there. In between the switches over there, there's feeders over there as well. And then coming around, as we go around the layout here, over here by the spools of wire, again, there's our feeders there. And then back here hiding is the second set of feeders as well. Again, come around, there's another piece right there. And as you can see, there's one, and that's just the way it is going the entire way around the layout. Then in the yard over here, I'm making sure that I'm adding feeders in between, just because we're going to need to have power to these frogs, because a lot of times they'll go dead and you can have a dead spot there where your engines can stall out. So I wanted to make sure that I got feeder wires in there, and then also added them over here as well to make sure that, again, that we have solid power there. And then once we get through the switches, and then it's just a matter of making sure that we have power in several spots in the yard here. Like I said, I'm not going to get entirely crazy with it like I am the main line, but you can see we have feeders there, right there, right underneath where this coal car is sitting. We have feeders sitting here and some here as well. So this is usually a time-consuming thing, which is soldering all this stuff up, but that's what I'm going to do next. So starting over here in Lewistown, you can see that we have the backdrop just kind of flexing around there. It actually goes back around and connects onto the wall. I don't know if you can see right there, but you can see where it just goes back and passes onto the wall. Over there is where we have that curved switch that's going to go pass through there and then into the hidden staging yard. It's going to be back in here to hold trains. So again, it's really nice to be able to just kind of only see one scene at a time. You can only see so much from standing here. And then once we add like the mountains on, vegetation, stuff like that, that'll even kind of hide it a lot more and make it a lot more interesting to look at and watch the trains go through. So coming around here, again, where we have the joints, things like that. So I countersunk a lot of these screws. So then when I go to finish it, We can use drywall compound. Probably going to use drywall tape here at the seams, and then sand it, do a second coat. I'm not the best at finishing drywall by any means, but I'll try my best. And then hopefully some of the scenery will kind of help hide it as well. But coming around here on the curve, so we're coming around here over at CP Long, and coming into here where we're about ready to go into the wall. And again, over here is where we're going to be doing the bridge from the edge of the wall, coming out to roughly about here. You can also see that here on the bench work, I actually took the 1x3s that were standing upright and I laid them flat. There's one laying flat here, and then back in here, I also removed this other one back there, and I'll lay a couple more out. The reason why they're flat like this is because we're going to be laying masonite over here on this section before the bridge goes in, so that's going to be our sub base for the river that'll be running underneath of this. So I kind of went ahead and just kind of did the preparation for that before we start building the bridge. So at least this is kind of done and ready for the sub base to go in. And again, the backdrop comes up here around, and then it was just screwed into the wall. I really had a hard time getting this end fastened in. I think because this curve was so much more tight than the other side, it really put a lot of tension on this. So it took a lot of reinforcement to get this end fastened in, but was able to do it. But when you're hanging backdrop like this, I definitely recommend having some help if you can get it, because it is certainly not an easy thing to do by yourself when you're working with 2x8 sheets, and it just wants to go everywhere. So got that done, and yeah, let's keep moving. Okay, so I went around and I got all of our track feeders put in. Just to have a little fun, I put a couple engines on the track. Went ahead and took a power pack here and just hooked it up. We're going to take a little test here and just see if we can get a train to move around the tracks here for the first time. So let's give it a try. can see, we got the train running around. Now I just did some temporary wiring to a lot of the bus feeders on just this outside track, just to test it out. I don't have anything permanently done yet, but next time we meet, we're going to start the control panel. We're going to start hooking that up in place, hooking the switches up, the indicator lights, and maybe even start painting some backdrops. So we'll definitely see you next time, and don't forget to keep things in Notch 8.